Welcome, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for this explainer today. We are going to unpack one of the most famous and honestly most profoundly misunderstood texts in all of human history, the Genesis creation narrative. Now, whether you grew up hearing this ancient text or you just kind of know the broad strokes, get ready because we are in for a fascinating paradigm shift. We're going to completely deconstruct what's actually happening in these ancient words. We're looking strictly at the source material to reveal this incredible hidden structure and ultimately a breathtaking mystery about how we experience reality itself.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How did ancient people view creation? Because, look, if you think the Genesis account is just some simple, primitive story about how the trees and the animals got here, you might want to leave that assumption at the door. When we actually analyze this text in its historical context, it is a razor-sharp, highly sophisticated document. It was doing something radically different than any other culture around it. So let's take a look at exactly how it pulls this off. Now, what is just absolutely brilliant here is the internal logic of the text. The creation isn't just this random list of things popping into existence, it's architecturally structured into two very distinct groups. It's like a giant puzzle. The first 3 days are all about creating the spaces, right? The habitats. You've got light and dark, sky and waters, dry land. Then, days 4 through 6 are entirely dedicated to filling those exact spaces, in the exact same order. The sun and moon fill the light and dark, marine life fills the waters, animals and humanity fill the dry land. I mean, it is a total masterpiece of logical design. Section 1. Order from cosmic silence. Let's transition into our first major theme here. Before the spaces were built, before they were filled, there was nothing but this primal cosmic silence. And the way this text describes that silence being broken sets the stage for a completely new vision of the universe. The mechanism of creation here is what's called divine fiat. The Hebrew word used is yehi, which translates to let there be. Now, notice something really fascinating on day 1. Light is created completely independent of the sun. The sun doesn't even show up until day 4. So in this ancient text, the light has a purely divine origin, ushered in simply by a spoken word. It's a bold assertion of absolute, unmediated authority over reality. And this brilliantly illustrates the second half of that equation. God speaks, let there be, and the text immediately follows up with, and there was. It's so simple, but wow, it's so profound. It indicates this inherent power of self-realization. There's no cosmic struggle, no sweating, no forging things in a fiery furnace. The spoken word itself literally carries the power to make reality materialize, which leads us to this incredible conclusion about the nature of the world. Because God continually looks at the creation and calls it good, the text is actively stripping away the pagan ideas of some primordial evil woven into the fabric of the universe. You see, in other ancient myths, creation happens because gods are fighting these terrifying mythological monsters. But not here. Reality is imbibed with goodness. Evil, therefore, isn't some pre-existing monster to slay. It is shifted entirely onto moral grounds. Section 2. Demoting the ancient gods. Now that we've got the order established, things get even more interesting. We're about to see this text systematically dismantle the neighboring mythologies of the ancient Near East, line by line. It is basically ancient cosmic myth-busting. Let's see how this builds into a direct attack on ancient astrology. Neighboring cultures worship the sun, the moon, and the stars as literal deities. They firmly believed celestial bodies were good or bad omens that dictated human destiny. But in Genesis, they're just lights. In fact, vegetation is created on day 3, way before the sun is created on day 4. By making plants grow before the sun even exists, the text demotes the sun from a supreme life-giving deity to a mere clock. They're just there to calculate time, seasons, and help facilitate human life. It is an absolute repudiation of astrology. And the myth-busting keeps going on day 5. In Canaanite myths, the sea deities, like Yam, and great sea monsters like the Leviathan were these terrifying forces that the gods had to battle for supremacy. But in Genesis, the great sea monsters are just animate beings. God routinely creates them, and instead of fighting them, he simply blesses them with ordinary biological reproduction. The terrifying monsters of the ancient world are reduced to mere animals just swimming in the ocean. Section 3. The democratization of humanity. Having put the sun, the moon, and the sea monsters firmly in their place, we arrive at day 6. This signals the major climax in the creation of the physical world, the arrival of humanity. Suddenly, the whole formula changes. It's no longer just let there be. We get this really unique first-person plural, let us make mankind in our image. The text portrays a personal God communicating unmediated with creation, but it also introduces a fascinating duality. Humans are created on the very same day as the creeping things and wild beasts. So, we're finite creatures, but simultaneously, we're made in the image of God. We are creatures of habit, yet infused with divine significance.
The really crucial point here is how politically and socially explosive this idea was. In the ancient cultures of Egypt and Assyria, only the kings and monarchs were considered the living image of the gods. Royalty possessed divine status, making them unrestrained authorities. But Genesis radically democratizes the image of God. It declares that all humans bear the divine image, which means kings are under God, not gods themselves. Talk about a game changer. Because of this democratic divine image, the text grants profound significance to every single person. Unlike the animals, human life is strictly protected. The text signifies the absolute inviolability of human life. You cannot murder a human, because to do so is to destroy the very image of the Creator. It's just an incredibly elevated view of everyday human existence. Now let's take a breath for a second. We have a perfectly ordered cosmos, we have a demythologized natural world, and we have humanity crowned with the divine image. But there's a glaring omission here. Where is the holy space? In every other ancient creation account, once the world is made, the gods demand a physical temple to be built so they can rest. Yet Genesis has no temple. So where is the sacred space? Section 4. The mystery of holy time. This brings us to our fourth and final section, and arguably the most profound paradigm shift in the entire text. This is where we finally uncover the ultimate focus of this ancient narrative. If you lived in the ancient Near East, holiness was completely spatial. It was geographic. You built grand altars, massive ziggurats, sprawling physical temples. That localized physical footprint was the holy space where you went to meet your gods. But in Genesis, God doesn't instruct humanity to build a temple. He doesn't consecrate a mountaintop. Instead, we get this climactic twist. Genesis invents a concept that humanity is arguably still trying to fully comprehend today. Instead of a holy space constructed by human hands, we get holy time constructed by God ceasing from labor. God built a sanctuary not out of stone, but out of time itself.
And the text emphasizes this with incredible poetic precision. There's a threefold mention of day 7. On the seventh day, God finished. He ceased on the seventh day, and God blessed the seventh day. This repetition acts like a literary threefold amen. It completely infuses this desistance from labor with profound blessing and sanctity. What's truly striking here is that throughout all the grand cosmic engineering of the first 6 days, the creation of light, galaxies, oceans, and humanity, the word holy is never once used. Day 7 contains the very first mention of the word holy in the entire text. It's also really important to note from our source material that the text doesn't actually use the specific word Shabbat or Sabbath here. It simply establishes that creation begins with God and ends with God. He is the Alpha and the Omega. This means that this seventh day isn't just some localized later Israelite ordinance. While the Sabbath later becomes a cyclic command for Israel, this original holy time, woven right into the fabric of creation, is a profound gift meant for all of humanity. It's a universal sanctuary that everyone, regardless of geography, can enter simply by stepping into that time and ceasing their labor. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. We live in a modern world that is completely obsessed with conquering physical space, right? Building bigger structures, expanding our territories, acquiring more and more things. But looking back at this ancient, brilliant text, we really have to ask ourselves, if the climax of the cosmos wasn't a physical temple, but a sanctuary in time, what could we learn today by embracing the mystery of holy time? I'm going to leave you to ponder that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep exploring.